In this video, we're going to take a look at creating objects here inside the project view. You might have noticed that the project view has its own little create dropdown, and there are several different things you can create. I'm not going to give any of these any more importance than anything else, but one of the ones that I find myself using a lot is folders. And this is where you can keep all of your assets organized by creating new folders for different types of assets, or even maybe creating deeper levels of folders. So for instance, if we have terrain assets, we have terrains, and we have terrain toolkit. If for some reason we wanted to put all of that under one folder, all we'd have to do is go into create a folder. We need to rename this folder, so we can just click on it once while it's selected, or we can just select it and hit F2, and we can call this terrain, singular, and then we can grab all three of these other folders and just drag those down inside. Now that's probably going to take, it takes just a second to process because all of the various associations are being updated inside the metadata, but it's just another way we can go about organizing scenes. Now, I normally wouldn't have done that because really this structure was kind of there for a reason. Now, terrain toolkit and terrain assets, they could stay, but the actual terrains themselves are a little bit different. If for no other reason than that actually contains the terrains of our that we're using in our level. But for the time being, for this example, we'll go ahead and leave it just as it is. Now, there are other things you can create in here as well. So if we wanted to create a brand new JavaScript, a C# script, or a Boo script, we can create those. We can create our own shaders, prefabs. Let's take a look at creating a prefab.
All right.
So all we do is just come in here and go to create and click on a brand new prefab. Now, because the terrains folder was the last thing I had selected, that's where this is going to end up. So what can we do from here, Lee?
Well, let's drag it out and put it into the root of the project just for now.
Okay.
So
and just
drag it out.
wrap it out here and
close
everything down.
All right. Now, let's go ahead and scroll up to the top of our hierarchy view. Now, as you can see at the very top, we have camp. Now, camp is no longer blue because we've made some changes to it, and it's got the fire pit. And let's say our camp is done. We're finalized with it. And if you look further down, we have the flame. Which
actually, let me fly our view over here to the camp so we can see what it is we're working on.
All right. So as you can see, we've made some changes to this camp. So in addition to the initial entries like the bench 2, fire pit, and tent, we've got flame down there. So let's go ahead and parent in flame with our fire pit.
Okay, we'll just drag that right onto the fire pit like so.
And I believe somewhere we have the sound for that.
I think that was already underneath the flame.
Okay,
we dropped that underneath the flame itself.
All right, so let's say that's a finished entity, and we want to set that up as a prefab, so we wanted to replicate this again someplace else. So go ahead and take the top level camp and drag it on top of the new prefab.
Bump.
And then go ahead and rename that new prefab to be our camp.
All right, so select this, press F2, and we'll call this camp.
Okay, so now if you look closely, our camp has now turned blue, which means we are an instance of that camp prefab. Now, just for fun, let's go ahead and fly over to our tunnel, our little secret government facility.
Which was hiding. Where is that anyway? I lost completely where I am. There we go. Had to be around here someplace.
Great. Now let's say we're an intrepid backpacker and we don't really care about all the warnings that say keep out. We decide to set up camp here. Go ahead and drag that camp prefab we've just created and put it in there. And as you can see, we've got our tent, we've got benches, we've got fire, we even have sound here now. And
we could rotate it around, get it positioned very nicely.
And
there we go.
And we've done all that with dragging out one prefab.
Awesome. That's actually really cool. So we just created a brand new prefab. We've associated it. So you get a little more here than you bargained for, but I think that's kind of the way it always goes. There's other things we can make, too. We can make materials, cube maps, lens flares. A lot of this stuff I'm not actually going to go into right now, but the idea is that you have things that you can create right here inside of your project view. And I guess the last thing I could do is go ahead and create a brand new folder, which I'll press F2 and rename to My Prefabs. And then we'll just take our little camp prefab and drag it down inside like so. So now we're keeping that all organized as well. So again, a quick look at creating new objects here inside the project view. That is going to wrap up this video. Thanks a lot.